thank you guys very much for joining us in this podcast that we're starting with my friend over here, New Voltage. His name is Mario, and we're gonna let Mario tell us a little bit more about himself and his company. And if you guys have any questions, please just let us know in the comments. But as far as right now, I'm gonna let Mario introduce himself. He is 30 years old. He has a family of three, obviously with his wife as well. He has three kids. But I'll let him tell you more a little bit about his background and who he is.
Well, fellas, my name is Mario Marin. I am 30 years old, born and raised in the city of Long Beach on the east side, which if you're from the east side, you know it's not a very rich area. A lot of poverty around there, and that's part of my roots. Proud to say I did not grow up rich. I'm chasing it, trying to get there, well, at least financially free. Not necessarily rich, but I won't be mad at being rich either. Yeah, like Vic said, married, beautiful wife, Melissa, and we have three crazy but beautiful boys, three little boys, 1, 5, 3, and then 1 year old. So those four there are my whys to everything that I do, everything that I am doing today. They're the reason why I get up with no hesitation. Maybe some laziness, tired, but I still get up every day and just keep trying at this game of life. Other than that, I can't put it any harder, easier for my reasoning to why I do everything I do.
So tell us a little bit about your background, Mario. I understand that you're in the electrical business. I understand you're a contractor. You're actually a licensed contractor, which, you know, it's some form of, I would say, some form of challenge to a lot of people to actually go through the whole process of creating your company, getting licensed, going through the contractors board and doing all of that stuff. Tell us a little bit about how or what triggered you to get to that point.
Well, honestly, I want to say it was luck. Luck got me into this. Not one day did I wake up and choose to be an electrician, or did I have a family member who was an electrician. I'm actually the first generation of Sparky in my life. In my family, I want to say, in my immediate family, at least I'm the first one to go to college. So fresh out of high school, all I knew was I got to go to school. That's all I knew. I didn't know any better than that. My parents pushed me to get good grades, go to school. So I go not knowing how to apply for college. All I knew is I got to go there, and I can't afford it. So what do we do when we can't afford college? Financial aid.
Yeah.
So to get financial aid, you needed to be a full-time student to get the full amount, which was $3,500 for a semester. To me, it was a lot at that time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of money no matter what. So that was obviously something I needed. And didn't know how to apply for college, so I signed up late for all my classes, most of my courses. And I know I needed 6 units left to qualify for this $3,500. And I had no idea what classes to go because they were booked according to my schedule. I was still working out of Taco Bell. So I knew I couldn't, that was my only income.
Your source of income.
My schedule was afternoons, nights or afternoons for school. So the only classes there, I just looked through whatever classes were available that fulfilled the 6 units. And there you go, scrolling through it, I see a class that says electrical. Not that I think was something to get certified in or anything. I thought it was a one course, one semester. Here we were going to go ahead and learn about Benjamin Franklin and his kite or something. I had no idea, right? And then literally I know it signed me up to, it just gave me a letter about I got to do a test. So go sign up for a test, and there's a line of 100 people. 100 people. It's Long Beach City College. 100 people lined up, and I thought it was just part of college, not something for that class. Next thing, 50 people are the only ones that got accepted for the program. I'm one of those 50.
Wow.
And from there on, I guess it was a 2-year program to get certified as it's an accredited apprenticeship program. In the state of California, to be licensed, to truly be able to work as an electrician here the right way, is you got to go be an ET, get what they call an ET card, which is an electrical trainee card. In order to get that, you got to be part of an apprenticeship program. In my case, it was Long Beach City College Electrical Apprenticeship Program. I ended up doing 2 apprenticeship programs. I finished that Long Beach City College program, graduated. It was a 2-year program, and from there I got hired on by a company named Gould Electric, who unfortunately is no longer, they went under. The company went under. But I did work for them for about 2 years. Great company, and I met a lot of great guys through there. That company actually sponsored me into my second apprenticeship program, which is ABC SoCal. ABC SoCal, the Anaheim chapter. And there was another 4-year apprenticeship program. Did I need that apprenticeship program? No, because with the Long Beach City College one, I'm technically accredited by the state that I fulfilled the schooling portion of electrical. But you still need 8,000 hours to become a licensed journeyman in the state of California. 8,000 on the field hours, which is on the field training, OJT, on job training. So those 8,000 hours, if you're working full time Monday to Friday, about 40 hours, should be 4 years.
Yeah, it's usually 4 years.
So by the time you finish your apprenticeship program at 4 years, you're eligible to take your state test. So the state test is you have to have the schooling, have completed your apprenticeship program, or be in the last year of your apprenticeship program, plus a certain amount of hours, which is close to being to the 8,000 hours. And that test is a test on about 120 or 130 questions. Can't recall exactly. You have 4.5 hours to complete that test. So it's timed. It is open book.
So you took the law and the trade at the same time, or did you?
Now you're talking about C10 contract. Electrical journeyman test is one alone to be able to work as a licensed journeyman in the state of California. There's a lot of electricians out there. Not a lot of them have gotten their journeyman card. Yeah. There's contractors that I know that never even had a journeyman card. I've actually asked a couple, like, hey, when did you get your journeyman card? They have no idea what it is. A lot of people get signed off. I mean, by all means, start a business doing this. Do it the right way. In my case, is do it the right way. Earn your stripes, put in the work. There's nothing that gets handed to you. There's no shortcuts. Yep. At the end, you end up paying it when you're faced against challenges where you didn't have the experience because you didn't put in the work for those times. You weren't exposed to that type of job or situations. And I'm not going to say I know everything, but I have a lot of experience under my belt. In my opinion, I have 12 years in this. I'm including my schooling, which was in 2012. Graduated high school straight into the electrical program, and to this day, 12 years in the trade. So I did my apprenticeship program, my apprenticeship years, and then I was licensed as a journeyman. Licensed as a journeyman for about I needed 2 years to be able to qualify for my C10 license. To study for my test and got my license for my contractor, started my business. I had to put a name for that license. That's where we came up with New Voltage Electric. When I mean we, is me and my wife.
Nice.
Me and my wife I'm picky about it. I needed something. If it didn't have that oomph, I didn't want it, And it was like, we tried this, all electrical. There was a lot of good ones that were already taken up. And somehow New Voltage came out. Actually, it started as New Volt Age. I wanted to bring this new era or new age of electrician. I'm a younger crowd.
You wanted to bring the modern side of it.
Something, or just, just something fresh. To me, it was just, there's old ways, there's new ways, and there's going to be someone newer after me. There's going to be newer electric, newer voltage later on, maybe. Who knows? But that's how the name came about, at least.
That's right. So you're telling us that it all started because you thought you needed just some extra credits.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
It all started because all I knew was I needed to go to college.
So when you showed up to school, you weren't thinking, oh, this is going to be a 2-year apprenticeship program. You basically showed up and just did whatever you needed to do from there.
So in the first day or week, they actually give you what's your curriculum to what classes you need to fulfill the certificate requirements. I still didn't know. It's about maybe halfway through the first semester that I come to realize that it wasn't just for college. It was specifically for the electrical program. I thought it was what I needed to end up in university. So I was too deep in at halfway through, which was like a whole year, and I was this is the only path I've done. All the classes I've completed are not to transfer out to a university.
They were offered just
for the electrical program. So it wasn't going to help me now, and now I'm stuck, and I was like, you know what, I don't quit. This is all I got. Let me finish this through. At the end, worst case, I end up with a certificate. And that college program is heavy on theory. Some labs, but not necessarily the labs that would help you out in the field. Being honest, it's not going to help you out on the field. There's nothing else like being out on the field that's going to help you. And so that program, I ended up with a certificate, but I still didn't know the work, how to do the work.
The hands-on part.
Dude, I wasn't even good with tools at the time.
Everything was just a theory to you at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it was books, and I loved it. And I mean, the feeling of wiring something up and seeing a light turn on, it's I can't explain it until you do it. You're doing it from the beginning, from point A to point B, and making it happen. That's a high for electricians in a sense. Working a whole year long, running conduit, pulling the wire, terminating it until you finally turn power on, hope nothing's wrong. And once you see that power gone, it's like, yeah, I'm that guy still.
Until you see the panel freaking turning off or something.
And you blame the other guy. And you just blame the other guy. That's it.
So let me ask you a question. During this time, were you already married? Did you had kids already? In what placement were you in at that point?
So me and my wife have been together since 2010, high school sweethearts. So we were sophomores. And if you knew us then, I mean, friends from back then, we've basically been married since day one. You know, it clicked from the beginning, and we've been blessed since then to have a good relationship. It's just us two. From there, and that time, it was just us two. We didn't have our kids up until she wanted kids since 18. She was pressing this bad. And you know, you get mad
She
all
was
you
like,
want.
I gotta lock in Mario now.
She still wants another one, but that's another topic. Anyways, yeah, we had no kids. We were still living at her parents' house. Not ashamed to say it. I was living with her parents for a while. My parents moved out to Fontana. I'm from Long Beach. I was going to school. I did not want to move out to Fontana. And well, my in-laws were like, hey, just stay with us. So there I go, renting a room with my wife, just paying my girlfriend at the time, and going to college. Both of us were going to college, working, going to college. That's all we knew. We knew nothing better. We'd just stay up Friday nights, Saturday nights, just doing homework together. You know, there was nothing that we had no other, like, we had no money to do anything really. Did we want to do something? Definitely. Yeah. We just had no choice but to go to school.
But at this point of your life, let's just say, right, you're 18, 19 years old. What mindset did you guys have at that point? Like, what was the goal? Were there any goals? Were there any, like did you guys had a vision for yourselves? Like, what was it at that point?
At this point, I can only speak for myself. My wife, the only time I knew about what she wanted was family. That's all she cared. And the only thing I held back with was, I don't want to have a family until we have a home of our own. So house was definitely a top priority. Right. And for that, you need money. So I needed to go to school to find a career that can front money for that. And so, which we did. I ended up being an electrician. In my second year apprentice, I was making decent money at that time, luckily, and we bought our house in a good time.
At this point, how old were you when you actually, because I know you mentioned that you were working at Taco Bell, correct? Mm-hmm. At what point did your apprenticeship program started? At what point did you actually started working and actually earning some income as an electrician?
This was in the year 2015, beginning of 2015, about January 2015, yeah. Around this when I actually started working, yeah. I graduated end of 2014, and by January I was working as an electrician.
So when you did this program, did you decide not to pursue college anymore? Like, what was your thought at that point?
I kept going to college, didn't stop till 2020, COVID, when I finally got my associate's degree. So I completed my apprenticeship program, actually got my license, and throughout that whole time I was still doing college as well.
So you're telling me that you were working, going to college, and you still decided to just keep going?
And at that point, I was already a husband and a dad.
Wow, that is commitment, brother.
But it's commitment, dedication, and the will to not quit. Just I have to see it through. Whatever it is, I've given. It's not about everybody else. I guess everybody else, my family growing up, has always thought I had something else. Something else. I've had my niece say it multiple times, and that little just that hearing that or that thought in the back of my head kind of gave me like, it's not just me. Someone expects me to be somewhere, and why can't I expect that for myself? Yeah. So it's like if I quit on myself, it's like I'm letting them down and myself. More myself. I don't want to be a quitter. And I said I gave my man about it, and I'm a man of my word. A man without his word is not a man. So that's all I got.
That gave me the chills, brother. So I know you mentioned that also you grew up in Long Beach, you know, that it wasn't the greatest community that you can say, right? But what did that teach you as now that you're older and you have kids?
Oh, man. All the people I grew up with, family, cousins, friends, we did nothing but dream of having more stuff, you know? We would hear, at least me, I'd go to school and I had those friends that had the nicer shoes, or hear about them going on vacations, traveling. Man, I didn't travel the first time. I took myself on my first vacation, put it that way. Not knocking my parents, it's just they didn't have it, or they couldn't get it. I had everything I needed. Not more than what I needed, but not what I wanted.
They did what they could, and that's what's important. So in an aspect of motivation, would you consider yourself to be a motivated person or a driven person?
I'd say naturally driven. Driven is definitely the one. Motivation is temporary. So anybody, it comes and goes. You can be motivated for a week, month, perhaps even a year. And when something hits you and brings you back down, that motivation's gone, out the window. What do you do then? Do you stop doing what you do? That's when being driven never stops.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that, because just to me, in my perspective of life, I kind of have the same background as you. You know, came here from Mexico when I was 10 years old. I was basically raised by a family member, which I consider her my mom now. It's funny that you mentioned in some of the questions that I gave you, because I actually grew up in a single bedroom with 7 people. And it's crazy because I remember this because to me it was the greatest thing, man. I didn't know any better. I come from Mexico in a very small town where literally, dude, like all I knew was some huaraches. That was my shoes, bro. So not until I got here is when I understood that there was different. There was a different lifestyle.
World.
There was a different world, where even a freaking refrigerator was like, holy fuck, like that shit. I'm gonna eat the whole fucking thing that's in there. And to me, right, like growing up in that environment, I didn't know any better. So to me, I didn't know that we were poor. I didn't know that we were low income. I didn't know any of that. And that's what's crazy, because that's what sets your mindset into a different perspective of life. Because now that I have my kids, now that I have my wife, you know, it's a whole different concept of life, because you discover something that you didn't know you had. And it's like you said, right? Everybody told you, like, hey, you have this spark, man. Like, hey, you have this gift. But you would doubt yourself. Why? Because you didn't know any better. Mm-hmm. And I kind of felt the same way when I was growing up, because I would be like, damn, like, I'm smart in school, but, dude, like,
yeah, everything.
You know, like, in my mind, dude, I never thought I would own a car. Like, honestly speaking, in my mind, I never thought I would be able to buy my own shit. And to me, it's just like, damn, like, when I started making money, I started working at a very early age. I think I was like 14, 15 years old. And to me, it was just like, I got used to being responsible. So when I was 16 years old, I was already paying rent. And I was living with family, right? So to me, it was like, dude, like, I'm making $275 every 2 weeks, and you guys are taking 150. Like, how's that helping me, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't see it that way back then. To me, I was just like, well, shit, like, I guess I have to pay.
That's how it is.
You know, and I hope now, right now, like, that I have my kids, right? I think about it, and I'm like, dude, like, I have 3 kids, dude. At some point, they're going to grow up. At some point, they're going to go to college or whatever. They're going to get a job. Like, I want to have the mindset where I don't want to have to charge them. You know? Because I do believe that those beginnings, dude, are the ones that mark you as a person. Like, to me, knowing that every 2 weeks I was going to get deducted $150 to pay for rent, I was just like, holy fuck, man, what am I working for? You know, like, but I didn't think about it that way. I just thought about it as, well, I get to keep, what is it? What's the difference? $125. Cool, I'll buy myself some shoes. Cool, I'll buy myself this. I didn't look at it any other way, dude, because back then, when I was in high school, dude, my childhood was way different than a lot of people, right? So I would borrow the clothes of my uncles, dude. And I'm not ashamed to say that, just like you say, right? Like, I will literally, dude, get their shoes, like, hiding, and just take them to school, dude. And to me, it's just like, that's what made me a man, dude. Like you say, to me, my word, if I give you my word, it's because that's what we're going to do, dude. And I don't care what it takes for us to get to that point. But if I tell you that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing, and we're moving forward. But like I said, like, just to me, I can relate to a lot of things that you're saying, just because I believe to be driven and not to be motivated. And like I said, you know, it's just something that, coming from your background, it's something where more people need to hear that. Why? Because there's so many dreams that are lost. There's so many dreams that don't get completed because some people are afraid of taking that step. And I'm just glad you were able to take that step, dude. Like, taking that step changed your whole life.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And to me, it's just like, what else, like, influenced you at that point? Who was a person of influence, or what influenced you to be like, man, like, I got this?
I mean, at the time, I was working for a company as a journeyman, licensed journeyman. I was making good money. We worked prevailing wage. It was about a 6-figure income. So for multiple years, I made good money.
Yeah.
And apparently in this era, inflation still didn't care if you were making 6 figures or not. Yeah, I was making 6 figures. I had a lot of debt myself. So my income was 6 figures, but my expenses felt like a lot more than that. So somehow it was still felt like I was just being choked. No money coming in. And like I said, my wife, I didn't say it, but my wife's a stay-at-home wife. Mm-hmm. Had my babies. I wanted her to focus on my kids. My kids and the teachings and being raised is very important to me. So I'm glad I'm able to have my wife there. It's not easy because now we're living on one income. Expenses are high, but to me it's worth every cent that I have to go work for so that my kids can get raised at least by one parent. At least if I'm not, I'm gonna go bust my ass out there. I know my wife is holding it down in the house too. So that was tough for me, not having to struggling with money. What did I know? I just knew how to do electrical. I'd go work for a buddy who was starting his business on the side, which is one of the persons that influenced me. So from early on in my apprenticeship, I was an apprentice, and I heard a buddy that I want to go work with him. And he's like, I was like, oh, what you doing on the weekend? I just want to go play soccer. And then I was like, what you doing? He was like, oh, I want to go work with so-and-so. And I was like, oh, would you go work? I was like, we work here. What are you talking about? He was like, no, we want to go do a side job. And I was like, oh, the electrical boy? He's like, yeah, for a house. I was like, oh, man, you guys work on the houses? Like, isn't that different? I didn't know what it is. For a commercial electrician, you have no idea what's going on in residential. Completely different. So that moment just sparked like, oh, man, I want to learn that. Just curious about I'm learning every day here. I'm an apprentice. And I go and ask him, hey, you need a hand on the weekend? Let me come out. He's never worked with me side by side. It's tough when you have your own stuff on the side. It's like, I can't bring on someone that's freshly green because I'm on go time. I got to knock it out, and I can't sit there and teach. But I kept insisting. I was like, dude, I'll come out for free. A lot of you guys that ask for work, it's hard for you guys to come out for free. I understand. I knew I wasn't going out for free.
Yeah.
I knew whatever I was going to go learn, eventually, later on down the line, I'm going to get paid for that.
Yeah, because you saw the future. You didn't see it as, I'm giving him my free time. You saw it as, whatever I'm doing, I'm earning. Because in your mind, you knew what you wanted.
At the time, I was taking from him. I was taking time. I'm just leeching onto you. I'm being a sponge, learning your ways. Well, how are you doing this? Why can't I do it? You breathe the same air. You bleed the same blood. Why can't I do it? Nothing out here going to stop me from doing whatever you're doing. So I was out there with him. He showed me the ropes, man. That guy's a great electrician. Taught me everything. At that point, I paid it back with hustle. All I can do is hustle and be there and show up all the time. I remember the first time he gave me the green light to go work with him was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve at about 11, right before the clock, the countdown. And I'm not a heavy drinker. I don't drink at all. I do, even if I like to have a good time. Yeah. And that time it was New Year's. I had a drink in my hand, about to start drinking. And he was like, hey, they ranked it on me. I need a guy tomorrow. Tell my wife, we're making money this year. And I put it down. Put the drink down. I said, where and what time? Done. Showed up whatever time it was, 6, 7 in the morning. And yeah, we went, threw up some lights. Boom, paid me cash. And I said, all right, I like this. I like this. You know, it was good. It was a separate hustle. And I told him, I was like, you need me again tomorrow? You need me what day? Count on me. I said, whatever it is, I'm here. And then, I didn't have kids at the time. It was just me and my wife. I still, once again, wanted a house. I just wanted a house. I had no money. So any opportunity there was, at work, overtime, and I was an overtime whore. I worked them all. I worked it all. Any second there was, I was out there. They stopped asking me, you want to work? They already knew I'm showing up. So, I've been responsible at work since the beginning. I at least, later on, it started getting bad when I started running my own company. Yeah. Because I'd show up late. Show up tired because I was staying up in the night working on mine. Because
you were doing your own thing
so
already.
We'd be working overtime, dude. A lot of times we'd be working overtime. About, let's say, it was typical for us to work 4 10s, Monday to Thursday, Fridays 8s, and maybe 8s on Saturdays, just at the company I was working with.
Wow.
Wherever I wasn't there, I was working on New Voltage Electric, doing service calls in the afternoon, or, hey, can I be there on the weekend? I know Saturday, Sunday was tough, but whatever opportunity there was, I was out there grinding. And this is when I started my company because one of my neighbors, who is my compadre, my son's godfather, he runs a concrete business. So the work ethic, I got influenced by my buddy, the one who did it. He's a hard worker. Just come here and do it right. Take pride. Yeah. He said, hey, if we stay later because we're not doing it, we're doing it the right way, so be it. Don't worry about it. This is it. Hey, do we do this? Nah. Don't even ask me how to do it wrong because I don't even know type of thing. He's just, this is the only one way.
Do it right, and that's the only way.
Take pride. He said, don't do good work, do great work. Yeah. And then my son's godfather, he runs a concrete business. So I moved in, finally bought my house, right? Bought my house after working with this guy. 2 years in, doing side jobs, whatnot, got my house. Me and my wife both worked hard for it. We're still going to school at this time. And there I go. Walk in the neighborhood, and I start seeing this nice house in the neighborhood. I was like, man, whose house is this? And cool guy, man, cool guy. Just greets everybody, too. I see him here with a big truck, toy hauler. He has all the good stuff. And I was like, man. He was like, hey, you want to come out on the weekend? Every weekend asking me, like, you want to go? It's like, man, I got to work, dude. I got to work. and he knows I was always working at overtime. So, and I was like, what are you doing? He does concrete. I thought he was just a concrete guy.
Yeah.
Never did I think of business.
Yeah.
I never thought to ask someone, oh, if someone else told me I was a plumber, I think he's working for a plumbing company. He's a concrete, he's working for a concrete company. Never did I think I'd meet an owner for a business, a small business yet.
Yeah.
It was never a thought. Nobody in my family ran a business. I don't know. I didn't know. It took, at that time, I didn't know. I couldn't count on my hand multiple business owners. I didn't know. I can tell you a whole bunch of workers. Just about anybody I knew.
You're like, yeah, I know Luis. He works for the electric company.
Like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, man, like, who do you work for? He's like, what do you mean, what I work for? For me. I was like, what? Oh, it's your business? I was like, oh, man. He was like, yeah, dude. I was like, how long you been at it? Like 12, 15 years. And so there was like something kicked on there. I was like, man, that's how you're doing this. And I remember speaking to him. I was like, man, that guy runs his own concrete. It was like, it has to be concrete. They make a lot of money in concrete. You just accept it. And he told me, and I told him, I was like, oh, yeah, I told him at the time, I got in the wrong trade. He's like, why? He's like, you're an electrician. You should make more money than me. And I said, but I don't got my business. He's like, well, that's where you're wrong. You should get a business. Yep. He's like, why don't you? He's like, you're working for the man. But you work for yourself. Yep. I was like, I can't do that, dude. It's like, no, I can't do that.
You're like, that's too risky.
Like, I make good money. He's like, how much do you make? No idea how much he made, you know? I didn't. Yeah. To this day, we don't talk about that, you know, we business it. And he told me, he's like, so what do you go out for every day? What, just if you get a side job? He's like, so you do side jobs? He's like, that's your business. Yeah. I was like, no, it's not. It's just doing it for family or friends. And he's like, yeah, but it's your name on the line.
Yep.
So let it be as Mario Electric. It's still you.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, you're right. And he said, how much do you go out for? And I said, me, Hispanics, que salga el día. Yeah. Go pay me whatever I make in the company, at least it's the same day. Yeah. I said, man, you're not taking consideration the time, wear and tear on your vehicle, the tools you bought. I wasn't paying me for there was cash. It was cash, so it was like, made $250, $300 a day. I'm good, I'm happy. Go and spend it at the club later or something, you know? Whatever we did. And no, he sat me down one day, like in a Christmas, we became cool friends. Yeah. But never did we touch the topic about business again, because I just knew working. And I was like, nah, I don't got time for that, dude. Until he sat down one time, and we were watching a fight, and he's like, so when are you going to quit? I was like, man, when am I going to quit? He's like, when are you going to go on your own, start your own thing? I was like, I can't do that. He's like, what are you scared of? So what do you mean scared? It's like, lose everything, dude. I just got my house. What are you talking about? I just got my house. You know, we have a kid now. My wife's pregnant. Like, what do you want me to do? He's like, you're scared to lose what you weren't born with? When he told me, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, were you born rich? Yep. I was like, no, I wasn't, man. Of course not. He's like, so what are you scared of? You know how to climb your way up. You did it once. Yep. Why can't you do it again? He said, you rather stop because you climbed up a certain part and that you're going to stop there? So that ladder got a whole bunch of steps left. Yep. Keep going, baby. Keep going. And yeah, man, like that moment, he's like, man, you're right. He's like, and yet you're not going to do it tomorrow, huh? I can't, dude. Insurance, my wife, you know, that's just not easy, dude. It was the little tickle that you were he just leaned back, like gave up again. He's like, yeah, there goes like the 100th person I'm trying to break that chain from them. He's like, you're not the only one. And just to like, is a Hispanic guy? Yeah, they're all Hispanics. Yeah. So I mean, like, just to me, right? And what going back to what he said about, you know, like breaking the chain. I do believe that a lot of us Hispanics are afraid of that stability, to lose stability, right? But we don't understand that if we're willing to take the risk, we don't know what the other side holds. What if it's better? And I think that's something that a lot of us battle with, just because we don't understand. Like you said, right? Like you will hear of a concrete guy and an electrician guy, and you would just think, oh, they're just probably workers. You didn't know the aspect of what they were doing in reality. Like, what if this guy freaking owned an electricity company? Mm-hmm. What if this guy owned a freaking real estate company and you just thought he was a real estate agent? Mm-hmm. You know, and that's crazy. Why? Because a lot of us, because where we come from, we're not exposed to this type of things, right? And a lot of us are just like, well, no seas metiche. You know, like, don't ask. Yeah. But it's like, why not? Like, what are you going to lose? Like he told you, like, what are you going to lose? You start from zero, right? Like, why be afraid of asking this person? What if you can earn something, like learn something from them? It's so simple. Sometimes it's just that spark that you need to be like, damn, he was right. I need to make this change in my life. But because we're so afraid of losing stability, we don't make that change.
But like I said, I'm glad that he was a big influence to you. And I'm glad that you see that. Just because a lot of us, our pride is too big to understand sometimes. Or our pride is too big to be like, damn, like this fucking guy actually made a difference in my life.
No, what's crazy is that conversation was 2 years ago. So it was recent. And when I finally went on my own, he was like, gotta give it to you. He's like, you're the only person that's actually taken my words and done something with it. He said, to this day, I hadn't met someone else that did it. He's like, and I have 12 to 15, whatever years it was, he's like, been trying to get friends and whatever business they do. He said, I always ask someone like, and I caught him. He asked everybody, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
Now I do it too. Why? Because I'm interested. Maybe they're doing something that I'm interested in doing. I mean, I'm an electrician. I own an electrical company. At this point, I'm not focused on being the best or greatest electrician. I'd love to be. I'm not. I know it right off the back. I'm not. But I want to be a great electrical business owner.
Yeah.
So that's what now I'm focused on business. Business is the one thing.
Yeah, because in your business, it can lead to so many other things. You know, you're not just stuck to just being an electrician. Let's just say you decide to, at some point, decide to get into real estate. Well, now you understand the aspect of the electrical part. Now you can jump into different things, not just being stuck to, well, you know, I'm just an electrical company. No, you can literally, you know, jump into different aspects of business, which is very helpful to you because now you understand what it is to run your company. You understand, like, what risk you can take and what risk you are not, you know, you can't take. Because at this point, like, how do you know how to manage your risk? Like, how do you differentiate that?
So I'm still learning day by day, and I don't think I'll ever stop learning. At this point, I try to ask whoever I know has more experience in this. I can't teach myself.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go through down the road, take the hits, and hope you learn from your mistakes.
Learn the hard way.
Also, very expensive lessons.
Yeah.
When you're running a business, that especially like I'm telling you, in my case, I'm my only income. I got no choice but to make it. No choice but to make
There's
it.
no plan B.
There's
what
no
you're
plan
saying.
B. There isn't plan B. I'm plan B. My wife's plan A. I'm plan B. I'm here. That's it. That's all my kids. I got multiple mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Multiple mouths depending on me. So I got no choice but to go out there and kill it. And the risk, yeah, I guess you risk big, you win big.
Yep. The higher the risk, right? The higher the
Do I
reward.
go ahead and balls out, freaking risk everything? No, I can't.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting better at learning my numbers, learning where I can squeeze out something for marketing. Do I risk? Any marketing is a risk.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed. Or anything in life is a risk. Nothing is guaranteed, obviously. But yeah, I try to crunch my numbers. When it gets slow, I get stressed out, and it's like, man, where's that work coming in? What am I gonna do with all this money? And like you start. That's where your creative mentality starts kicking in. Well, what do I do now? Let's adapt. You're up against the wall and sword. You sit there and cry, or freaking fight back. So I sat behind a computer, started crunching numbers. Like, what can I cut back? Stop wasting here. See what's really working. If you're marketing some stuff, try to see if you're running some ads on something and nothing's coming out of it. Scratch that. That's money more in your pocket. So you limit your risk as best as possible. Everybody's in different levels for business. There's multiple electricians and multiple electrical contractors. Some higher than others. Some it's like, oh, just spend more on market. It's not that easy. You got to know where you're at. If you don't have it, you don't. Like, just keep out there grinding till you can come up with more money to hopefully market and invest on creating more opportunities.
And I do believe in that you have to know also the clientele that you're targeting. Just because, you know, like, it's crazy, right? Because I see it in the aspect where it depends what areas you're targeting as well. Just because in the Hispanic community, everybody has a cousin that has an uncle that has a brother that knows electrical. And just to me, right, the way that I see it, because I'm in the business of providing solutions as well, just like you. Because to me, the way that I see your business is you're there to provide a solution. You're not there to sell them anything. So the client has to understand that if you show up, it's because you're going to fix it, right? You take pride in your work. You take pride in whatever you do that Mario's name is there. It's not just New Voltage that is showing up to do the work. So how do you divert that part? Like, how do you, when you have a client like this, like, how do you fight that objection?
As to fighting against that cheaper handyman guy?
Yes. Like, how do you do that?
I mean, more than likely, first of all, guy's not licensed. Yeah. So I was that guy at some point. I didn't have my license and I'd go do side jobs. Not knocking everybody trying it, but try to get your license, do it better. And I front what I paid. Well, I paid for being bonded, insured, licensed. What I bring to the table. I'm still paying for that. And warranties that you can bring to the table. Yeah. I teach them, I educate them on anything possible. I tell them wants over needs.
Yeah.
It's like, do you need recessed lighting in your house?
Yeah.
No, I see you have current lamps and they work off of switches still with half hot outlets. You don't need it. I'm real. I'm true to them. I'm not full salesman. I'm gonna sell something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to sell something at the end of the day, but not get rich off of one person.
Yeah.
So I guess they respect my honesty, and I do bring some creativity when coming. It's like, hey, while you're doing this, I'm just letting you know, and you may take it out as a sales pitch or not. You want to pay twice for repairs on this drywall, or you're already going to have someone there. You might as well add another light to this point, something like that. So Instagram, showing my content, showing my work. You got to show your work. If you don't show your work, no one's going to see. How do they know? If they don't know your name, they're not going to call you to hire you. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm on Google, I'm on Facebook, Yelp.
Everywhere.
My work's everywhere. You can see, you got to see it. If you can't show it, you're not going to get hired.
And I think one of the biggest things that you just explained, when you educate them, you show them the value that you're bringing to them. You know, and it's not just, oh, well, I'm just here to sell you some recessed lights. Why? Because what I believe in is that there is a lot of companies out there that are transactional. And to me, that is one of the biggest failures for a lot of companies. Just because they're just so focused on charging, let's just say $300 for a recessed light, and they can sell you 10, so now they made $3,000. But if you educate them like, hey, look, you have this much space. With 4, I think you'll be fine. You know, and other companies would have been like, hey, you know what, I can put you 10 recessed lights here, and I can charge you $3,000 when you could have probably done it for, let's just say, half of that price and only done 4. You know, and I think that when you show them the value that you are providing, that's when people start understanding that, yes, maybe you have a cousin that might do it, right? But hey, what if that cousin that does it ends up causing you, you know, for your freaking panel to go off, or, you know, for whatever reason, let's just say that is going to cost you more than it's going to help you, right? Than what it's going to help you. So to me, it's just like you said, right? Take pride in your work, and I think that if you take pride in your work, people will just value it from there.
Work, not everybody, but I believe there's still people out there. Not believe, I know it. I know there's still people out there that respect that. They pay you for what you're worth, not just for what you're doing. Yeah. So I've had recently some clients. I tell them, by all means, get other bids. Am I going to be the cheapest? I'm telling you right now, right off the back, I'm not. Just make sure you're comparing apples to apples when you're comparing something. Yeah. And they hit me back up, and they'll be like, hey, man, the guy did come back with a lower number. Yeah. I was like, okay, but we're still going with you. He didn't have your swag. Literally told me like that. It was just, I sold myself to her. You know, she knows she was hiring me for who I am. Everything. She liked just all the ideas I threw at her. He said he was just dry. He wasn't bad. Just didn't have that extra in him. You didn't go above and beyond. I mean, I can be forever at an estimate. If you keep me talking, I'll stay there. Yeah,
I think that when you show up, you are the face of the company. And I think the fact that you are a genuine person and you show up not trying to sell them anything, but basically trying to provide them the solution that they actually need, it's where they start understanding that, hey, this guy is just showing up just to sell me something, and this guy is actually explaining me what the process is going to be, and you know, giving me the breakdown of what it actually is going to consist of me doing this job. So I think that's very important, man. But
definitely on that part, sorry to cut you off, but I aspire to not be the only face of the company. Do I want someone else to show up to the job? Obviously, I want to be able to create a business where I can pull off if I have to run an emergency or go to have time off with my family or something, or be at another job. I can't be everywhere at one time. But the guy that shows up, my worker, my employee, I want him to bring the same energy and the same things that I provide to the clients. So how you're saying I show them extra, I educate them, I want my guys to be able to educate them. I want my team to be an extension of me. Can there be someone else without my face on it? Definitely. If not, I'd put Mario Marin Electric. I didn't. I put New Voltage Electric. Yeah. But are they getting extra one on there? Definitely they are. I hope to hire someone who brings even more to the table than me. That's what I shoot for.
So with that being said, Mario, like, where do you see your company in the next 5 years, and where do you see yourself as a person?
Obviously, hope to grow the business. I'd love to have a bigger team, bigger team. I want to provide more jobs to people. It's not easy. It's not easy. When I stress because there's no work, I stress not just because my money's not coming in, there's an employee out there hoping to have, not hoping, needs that money from me. So if I'm not eating, you think he's gonna be eating? No, definitely. So I want to have way more volume of work to create more companies, more crews. Sorry, more crews, more vans on the road. I'd like at least locally. I'd love to work locally. Just everybody wants to save time. Nobody wants to be driving in traffic. I'll do it. Hey, money's out there. I'm gonna go get it. But I'd love for my guys to be locally, work close to home. That's the perfect world. We all would want to be close to home and make great money.
So just getting back to what you said about when there is no work or when work is low, right? I do believe that when you are responsible for someone else's income, it brings a different type of responsibility in your life. Just because you know that, let's just say, right, you have a guy named Louis, you know that Lewis's family is depending on him making money. So I think it does bring a different aspect of your mindset when it comes to that, because now you feel more responsible just because you have your family to feed, but now you also have Louis and his family that he has to feed. So I think that's where your mindset of entrepreneurship changes, because now you have some sense of urgency to be able to get more jobs. And honestly, I think that a lot of people don't have that in mind, and that's why so many companies go down.
Oh, there's different reasons, but that's definitely one of them. And in my case, I mean, I'd say that a lot of people sometimes just don't care about that or don't think that through. You know, just get rid of them. I can't keep them on. You know, like sorry, guys. So there's times it's gonna happen. You can't keep everybody. You want to. It's not easy. When you have to. At the end of the day, we're doing this for the business.
Yeah.
If the business can't survive, well, no one could.
A business is a business regardless.
Yeah, so it's gonna happen. Whether I'm the one doing it or they go work for someone else, they'll end up doing it. I hope I don't. It's something that I don't wish to happen. You know, I tried. There's been slow days, and I've been working in the house.
Yeah.
Whatever stuff there is, I no longer do whatever my wife's to-do list is. Never ending. I no longer try to do it. You know, hey buddy, there's no work. I'll still pay you your day. Come out here to knock this list down.
Yeah.
You know, let me focus on creating more work while you're doing my to-do list or something. So I'd have the guys working there at times. But your question was actually what I'm derailing here. Now you were talking about where I want to see myself in 5 years. Like I said, having some sort of a fleet. Not crazy. Not trying to say I want 30 cars on them. By all means, shoot it. I'd like to have a more established business. Self-operating business. And I mean self-operating, you know, my face is not the one. When you
didn't, like what you mentioned, like it's not just where you are going to show up in person, but the person that shows up is going to represent you. Definitely. So I do believe in that mindset is the proper one, just because you want to have aces in places, and that's what I believe in. You want to have the right people working for you. And if they feel comfortable working for you, then that means your jobs will be done properly.
Oh yeah, I want to be the guy that people want to come work for me, not I'm looking for people. Luckily, I've been blessed. I don't know if it's the work we put out, the work we show on Instagram. There's a lot of apprentices that I'm sure they're great too. I can't give everybody an opportunity, but almost on a daily, I'm asked like, hey, you got some work for me? Or here's my resume. You know, I've had multiple, and I appreciate that. Hopefully one day I could give you the opportunity, you know, but it's starting to seem that I'm one of those guys that people want to come work for. There's a lot out there. And that's where I shoot to be at least in 5 years, where it's flooding with people wanting to work for our team.
So I know you've mentioned your wife a couple of times. What important role has she played in you becoming the person that you are now?
Oh man, everything. If you're, let's say, married, obviously, and trying to run a business, best believe that as much as that new hats you're gonna be wearing, who's taking the toll at home?
Yeah.
I'm running a business at home. She's running a whole family by herself at the house. I try to help wherever I could, but she knows it. She doesn't even expect it. I came out here in traffic after finishing work, walking a job. I came here, and she's showing me a video of her building a storage a rack in the office for me to pick up my stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, leave that to me. She's like, it's all right, I got it. Holds it down. By all means, I became the man I am because of her.
I'm really glad to hear that, brother, just because I do believe that a woman can either break you or make you. And to me, it's just very important who you decide to partner up with. And I do believe that is one of the most important things, or probably the most important choice that a man can do, choosing the person that he marries, just because, like I said, like in my family, I've seen divorce, I've seen all this shit, and just to me, like this year I make 10 years of being married with my wife, and I'm just grateful to God because now I am the man that I am. Obviously, I give a lot of credit to her, but it takes a lot of fucking balls to be able to take that risk yourself as well. So with what you said, I do have to tell you that you also have to take credit for yourself.
Definitely.
Just because it takes two, and I do believe that it takes two to become one, and her responsibility is different than yours, but both of you guys have probably the same heavy responsibility.
We're a team.
Yep.
Neither one could do. Could, I guess, could not be the great mom she is if I didn't throw her that responsibility, right? But like what I mentioned about, I mean, she's my queen. I have a queen at home. I don't have an anchor at home. So she builds me up. As much as people think she's not, she's the one that gives me a high motivation. No one, when I'm stressed out in my dark spots, wherever I have no way out, she comes and she walks away. Like, she's like, you got this.
Yeah.
I was like, why? She's like, I don't know what it is, but I trust you. I believe in you. You're gonna find a way. You always do. And I don't hear my voice no more. I hear everybody that's like, nah, you could. And then that's my motivation. Yeah. I hear them tell me. I don't, like you said, I don't give myself credit. When you gave me the questions and I sat there with my wife, like, I hear it. And I said, what do you do this and this? Like, well, my dad, that's it. Like, I got nothing else. Nothing special about me. I'm my average person. She's like, no, you're not. You're more than that. And that's why I give her the credit. I pay my where it's due. I give credit to where it is. My wife has been a big essential part of my business, and is.
That's really good. Yeah. So what's one thing, let's just say for a younger person, a 15-year-old Mario that is coming from Long Beach, East Long Beach to be exact, correct? What is one advice that you can give this younger version of Mario?
Obviously hard to give a 15-year-old advice. We were all in high school and we would hear from great teachers. I was blessed with a lot of great teachers that tried to give me advice. And you know the saying, it goes in one ear, comes out the other. But not everybody. There's just those kids that are just different. I guess I was one of them. I hear like I was more mature mentally. I was ahead in some way. And when you meet a kid like that, man, by all means, lead him the right way. How many times do you not wish you could have saved time in learning all this business that we're trying to learn here if someone was on your side telling you, like, nope, don't make that move. Don't waste your money on that. Start investing from now. Well, why don't you look into learning a trade, perhaps, not just college? What would I do? I mean, my obvious answer is either go to college. We still need students no matter what. So we're going to need doctors. We're going to need lawyers. We need college. Is not, I don't frown upon college. Mm-hmm. The way college people frown upon trades. Yeah. I don't knock that. I did both. Yeah. I got my degrees. I can bubble a little associate's degree when you ask how far did your parent get. I can bubble that one, and I'm a blue collar boy too. I'll say it all day. So I don't knock both. I went both routes and ended up on this one. When I quit, when I told you, asked me, oh, were you in school? I went throughout. So there was in 2020, COVID, school started getting online, virtual only. I mean, my graduation was supposed, I didn't even attend because I couldn't. It was supposed to watch my face on Zoom or something. I was like, I'm not doing that. Anyways, at that point I completed all my requirements to transfer out to a 4-year program. So I had two choices. I was doing a lot of business at that time. I created my logo. I had work coming on the side. I was working for a company. It was either keep going to school and chase my engineering career, which is what I was going for. So I was chasing to be an engineer. I mean, I saw the work, going up to Calculus 3, all this and that, and it'd be crazy. But that's what I want to do. Yeah. Or grab the bull by the horns and take this business route.
And that's exactly what you did.
No, I Googled up and see how much engineers make and this and that. And then I Google, you can't even find an answer to how much can a business owner make.
Dude, I don't trust Google because if you tell Google my foot hurts, bro, you got cancer.
Yeah, that's obviously. But no, I definitely looked up at least income. We all want to know how much you can make a year. But when you understand that with business, if God willing, it's a profitable business. It's limitless.
So would you have made any changes, Mario? And we're almost coming to the end, but would you have made any difference in your life decisions to the point where you are now? Like, what difference would you have made?
Not getting debt. One thing. Start with that. To have some sort of financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean be rich.
Yeah.
It just means live below your means.
Yeah.
Why? Especially with a business. All that stress of paying and bringing that income down, having that debt and having the payments that you have to come on the side of your business that's not related to your business but your personal, that's extra stress.
Yeah.
So I shoot to be stress-free. It's hard, difficult. Money is the root of all evil, right? Yeah. It's a tool. It's a tool to get you from point A to point B. Do what you want to do with it. It's not even, people can use it in the wrong way. But having that financial freedom where, let's say for some reason, your household expenses were down to $3,000. To some, it may be a lot, obviously. I wish my household expenses were at $3,000 right now.
Bro, you got 3 kids, bro.
Obviously, just in their fruits, those guys, man.
Just in their weekly market is probably like $500, bro.
No,
I got 3 kids, and I know.
No, fine. That's dude, that's cute. These guys are bad. These guys, anyway, yeah, but no, that's one thing. I'd hope I'd be more financially educated.
So would you say that it's something where us as Hispanics will have to tackle with our kids, financial literacy playing a big role? And that's something that I was talking to my guys earlier about, teaching my kids how a bank account works, teaching my kids how to have a debit card, what it takes for you to make money. You know, just like my kids, like my oldest daughter, she's 9, and I have her chores, right, where she gets paid for every chore that she does, and she has to be responsible to checkmark whatever she's doing, right? But within that app, there's skills that she has to do in order for her to get paid. Because it's not just, oh, I picked up the trash and I checkmarked it, I'm done. No, you have to understand a money habit. What is it? You know, how did you get to this point? So I think that we need that generation of parents where we have to teach our kids the financial literacy that we didn't get to.
That one. You hit the nail on the head. So it's not that we can't do it. We don't know how.
Yeah.
Because they don't teach it in school, first of
Our
all.
parents didn't know any better, dude. They did what they could.
At least in my case, my parents would just work hard. Yeah. My dad was work hard. My dad, and he heavy alcoholic. He done, like, I don't even know how he's walking. Still showed up to work the next day. No matter, he went out with the boys, he got up like a man every day.
He got home at 5, he woke up at 6.
Anybody can tell me anything about my dad, but that he's a lazy guy. Nope, that guy will bust his ass. 2 jobs. I didn't see my dad. Basically didn't grow up with my dad. He was working out there, making sure we had what we needed. Obviously the dad too.
Is your dad the Honduran? Or
no, my dad is Mexican. Full macho alpha if you meet him. Ain't nobody more proud than that guy.
He's one of those Mexicans that goes to sleep at 5 and wakes up at 6 even though he's half drunk.
Man, my mom is the Honduran. But my dad is so Mexican, converted my mom to Mexican.
Macho alfa, pecho peludo.
Lomo plateado. Oh, definitely.
Well, Mario, thank you very much, brother. I do believe that, that a lot of us, in the Hispanic community need to learn from us, from each other, just because a lot of us are either embarrassed or we just don't want to invade somebody's privacy just because we were taught not to, like, ask too much questions, right? But there's nothing wrong with that. And with that being said, I know there's going to be people that are going to ask questions. And obviously, I'm going to tag your company in there. I'm going to direct them your way. If there's any form of way that you can help educate others, obviously, within that, then, I'll be more than happy if you can do that for them as well.
Oh, man, definitely. I mean, there's great guys out there in social media. Social media is a big tool. We met through social media.
Yeah.
Actually, he's a general contractor, and I asked me for a bit, didn't give me the job. Anyways, but it was out through social media. And when I was doing side work, I had my social media page like if I had a company. I had a company just running it on the side.
Yeah.
And there's big guys out there, social media influencers. Some are just influencers.
Yeah.
And then you have those great guys who are true electricians and humble people. Right Wire Electric. That was another influencer. I saw another person that influenced me. I saw him, met on Instagram, man, that's a Hispanic. That's a Mexican right there, man. Like, that guy is local to me. Not local to me, Santa Ana is not far. He's running a whole business. And it's crazy how I got him, followed him when he wasn't even where he's at now, you know? And I met him. You asked this guy a question. Answer. He answered. I mean, now it's probably a little slower because he has a lot of questions every day. Yeah. But that guy is happy to teach. And I want to do that as well. Just anybody ask me a question, I've had a couple guys ask me, and by all means, I'll answer if I could.
hopefully my compadre gets to watch this, just because my compadre Diego, he's an actual commercial electrician, and I keep telling him, like, dude, like, become a contractor, get your C10. You know, for whatever reason, he hasn't taken that step. So I hope he watches this video. He reaches out to you. It's funny because he actually was the one that sent me your profile to me.
Oh, wow.
He's like, dude, check out this guy. So then I started following you from there. His name is Diego. So I hope you're watching this, and you better, you know, start moving, bro. Because if he can do it, hey, bro.
And like to Diego, I mean, I was nothing but a commercial electrician, you know. Yeah. And from there, just a lot of commercial electricians knock residential.
Yeah.
I never did because I didn't know it. I was there to knock. I didn't understand this. And man, there's money to be made in residential. Yeah. There's money to be made in any home services. There's another great motivational podcast that I listen to during that whole era of me going to school, working, and running a business on the side. Early mornings, going from the gym to work, I'd have an hour drive. And we're talking about 5 in the morning. I was at the gym at 4 in the morning, start time at 6. So that 5 to 6 was nothing but an hour of podcast for like a whole year. And that podcast is Waste No Days podcast. Nice. It's a HVAC, plumbing, and electrical podcast for home services. And these guys are racking in crazy numbers. So you guys go ahead and listen to it. It's a lot to be under, but they teach you that you can make money in residential, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there is tons of money to make in commercial. And that's why we do both residential and commercial. On top of that, I can bring that to the table. Yep. So those guys who are just commercial, go out there and ask people to work for free, man. Just they might want to give you the hand and can't afford you, or their budget for that job is short. Go out once a week, you know, to different guys. Learn different tricks from other guys, or start doing your own side jobs. You know, go learn. Don't do nothing crazy where you're gonna burn up a house. You know, but be real to people. Hey, I'm learning. If you don't mind, I'll give you a cheap deal. Something, you know, easy jobs. And those residential guys, try to learn some commercial electrical too. It's not easy, but
it's doable.
We all can learn, and we never stop learning.
If you can't take the risk, you know, you'll never find out.
Man, there's dreamers and there's doers.
That's right, brother.
And I mean, we're all dreaming until we create that reality. So
Mario, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you coming, and thank you very much for your time. I know that we're taking time away from your family, but you know, I'm just glad you're here, brother, because I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to benefit from this. And like I said, we are the ones that need to make a difference now. This is our time for us to teach others, right? We don't know everything, but hey, we're in the business of learning. I believe that the moment you start learning, you start just killing yourself inside, brother. So I believe that we don't know anything, but hey, if I can provide some form of information to you, then why not, right?
Definitely.
So thank you very much for your time, brother.
Thank you for having me here.
You have a safe drive back home.
It made me happy to. Someone wanted to hear my story. I was like, I guess I'm somebody out here.
You're like, fuck that.
I mean, I love to talk. I can be talking all day, and it's like, you ask a couple of my buddies, it was like, oh man, they made a podcast. Mario talking about himself. I've had a friend say, you guys want to know what's Mario's favorite subject? Mario, dude.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Mario.
Okay.